What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the LA Soccer Hub Show. My name is Gio Garcia. Today is Monday, May 16th, halfway through May. It's crazy. It's been so many games. It's been a busy month for the MLS, for the LA Galaxy, for the teams here in LA. So lots going on. But I'm happy to welcome one of my guests, Damian Calhoun. Damian, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Good to be on.
Yeah, man, this has been a while. I gotta ask you about the shirt. It looks like you're a big wrestling fan. Yeah, New World
Yeah.
Order. Talk to me. Who's before we get started? Some of your favorite wrestlers.
Oh man, I'm taking back to like the old days, like Junkyard Dog and um. Well, everybody liked Hogan growing up, and then you hated him
Yeah.
for a while. So it's like, yeah, Bret Hart, Roddy Piper, all those old guys, man.
Yeah, isn't the WrestleMania going to be here next year, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Next year, we gotta get in there somehow.
At SoFi.
Yeah,
That's how it's going to be at SoFi. So That
yep.
that's what I'm excited about. I've never been to WrestleMania. I was, a WWE fan growing up, but unfortunately, not as big as now. But it's crazy to me. It's like I didn't realize how much like wrestling was big all over the country. I thought it was just me, just watching on WWE on Thursdays, and you had Monday Night Raw. But it was like, I just thought like it was me. But now that I see everybody that also grew up with it, and I've seen some documentaries and stuff like that, like who's the guy? I can't think of his name, but the guy he was called the seventh wonder of the world. What's his name? He was like a big giant. Forgot his name.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant. There we go.
Yeah,
See how
yeah.
much I know. But he I watched his documentary. I think it was on HBO or something like that, Netflix. But like how he helped start wrestling. I don't know. It just blew my mind how creative they had to be back in the day.
Yeah, it's so big now, man. You got ESPN covering it, all these major outlets covering it. It's like bigger than what it was when we were all growing up. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So that's my tie to wrestling. We got to talk about the Galaxy. Obviously, it was a brutal game, uh, disastrous game. If we're gonna be honest, 3-1. What were your thoughts on the game? Because I know it was all over the place for the Galaxy.
yeah, it's at the start you can tell they were a little slow. They were a little maybe a step or two slow. FC Dallas came out and really pressured them from the beginning. They had a couple bad trying to play out of the back and almost near fatal mistakes. But they were never able to get on track. And then they had a FC Dallas scores early, I think within maybe 10th or 11th minute. And then they capitalized on a couple mistakes. And then you look up, it's 3-0 in the 25th minute. So it's like, whoa. Um, they got Galaxy tried to chase it, but you're down 3-0. You're going to need to make a lot of changes. You're going to need to almost a miracle to catch up. They had some looks in the second half. Douglas Costa got a goal. But the game ended the way it should have ended. The way they played in the first half, 3-1. Lucky to be 3-1, but they deserve that loss.
Yeah, I would have to agree. For whatever reason, I don't know why they started so slow. And one thing, like FC Dallas, game plan perfectly for the other Galaxy because they pressed them up high. They have the speed with Jesus Ferreira up there, Pariola. We saw what they did with the Wings, and I was not surprised by the outcome at the end of the game. I was surprised they were up on them like 3-1 or 3-0 in the first whatever 24, 25 minutes of the game, whatever it was. I was very surprised about that. I expected a little bit more of a battle, but I think we saw FC Dallas kind of expose some of the Galaxy's weaknesses, kind of playing at the back. But I would also say maybe things could be different if Raheem Edwards was just playing left back. Because Casper, he was getting caught off right there on the left back. A couple of the goals came from that side. So it's difficult to say, but you could tell how valuable Raheem Edwards is for the other Galaxy. And unfortunately, they didn't have him now. Hopefully, he's able to play with them moving forward. Because he is such a value. We knew how valuable he was for them offensively, but we also were starting to realize how valuable he is also defensively with this speed. Because I would assume if he was there, maybe some of those goals may or may not would have happened. Because just with the speed and how he's been able to play defensively. But they're very thin right now at left back because Jorge Villafaña is out for the season. Raheem with his injury. And now, you have a backup, or you have the third string in there, which he did pretty good in the Open Cup game. But unfortunately, this is against FC Dallas, who played really solid. What are your thoughts on the Galaxy with Raheem Edwards and all that?
Yeah, it was a his absence was very. I mean, you noticed that very quickly, especially on the first goal when I forgot the winger. He got behind Gasper quickly there. Then he hit a cross, and Ferreira was there for the tap in. Greg said he was optimistic that he would be back at least into training this week. I think he's according to their social media, he's on the trip to Minnesota. So, I mean, do you bring him back from Minnesota? Or do you hold him over for Sunday? That's one thing I guess Greg is thinking, because Greg was like, we had a quick turnaround, so we got to. He said something to the effect of, "It's my job to get the right guys out there for Wednesday," knowing they had a tough road on against Austin, and then they had so many guys really really chasing the game against Dallas, so it could be some heavy legs heading into Minnesota here.
Yeah, they just played this weekend. Tough game against FC Dallas. Now they play tomorrow against Minnesota United. They're traveling, like 4 or 5 hours, however long that trip is to the Midwest, and then they come back and play at home again, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, they play Wednesday against Minnesota. I think they leave right after the game, or maybe early Thursday. Then they're back home Sunday against Houston.
Yeah,
and the schedule is the May schedule with the Open Cup factored in.
And then they got El Tráfico the 25th, a week and a half from now. So it's
that's the biggest game of the month.
Yeah,
so
it really is. And you can't blame any of these teams if they don't have it by the 25th, because of how congested the schedule is. It's like it seems like every other game, every other day they're traveling. They're doing something. So I'm very interested by the time U.S. Open Cup El Tráfico comes into play, because that's going to be very interesting. You could definitely have some tired legs. Maybe Raheem is back in there by then. Maybe that changes things for them, obviously defensively. But yeah, it was very, very tough to see the Galaxy play this way. But I think leading up to this game, there's been some inconsistency from the Galaxy. The games can be kind of slow. We haven't seen them play like with a good flow. Yes, they won against Austin, and they've had some positive results. But I think overall the football hasn't been as clean as one would like it especially from this type of caliber team. But yeah, I just want to see how this team, how they bounce back in Minnesota, because Minnesota's the good thing about having a game like that is you have another quick one, and you can easily forget about it. You can easily move on from it, and you can take those quick lessons, and learn, because they definitely can't be playing like that moving forward. And I think whoever plays left back, or or center back in that back line, is going to have to help if Raheem Edwards is not there, because if I'm Minnesota United, I look at the FC Dallas game, I'm gonna try to game plan that way, because but the other thing is, was it Minnesota? No, or was it Minnesota United didn't get smashed 7-2? I was thinking Sporting
Kansas City. Kansas City,
yeah, Kansas City. I was about to say it wasn't them. But yeah, so it's like, and then Minnesota United is also, they play in a tough environment there, because I think last time they played out there, it was very difficult for them. So you got a tricky schedule for the Galaxy.
And also, Sega Koulibaly picked up another yellow card late in the game, so he has to sit this game. So maybe now you're looking at either Nick Dupuis or Eric Zavaleta sliding in next to Quinn. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything comes together on the back line.
Yeah, to me, like Sega, he's been the best center back so far these last couple of games. He's had a couple of slide tackles, a couple of big tackles, so that's going to be pretty big of a miss, because he has the speed. Derek Williams, we haven't seen him play as much this season, so it's going to be tricky. Nick Dupuis, I feel like he's had some pretty solid games. So Eric Zavaleta, I don't think we've seen enough from him. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens, because there's a lot of rotation, and I think I would expect a lot of those rotation with all these games coming in the hand.
Yeah, and they also have Jalen Mills on the trip as well, so maybe he gets in this game or not. So, I mean, Greg said last month that this month here, it's almost like an all hands on deck sort of thing. Everybody will have to chip in and sort of get through it. because you have June. You get the first 2 or 3 weeks off of June for the international
Yeah.
break. So you just got to weather this storm here, really.
Yeah, and I think in June you're right. There's an international break, and then on top of that, there's only like 2 or 3 games that they play in that month, which is pretty nice. Shout out to Andy. He says superstar lineup. What up, fellas? What's up, Andy? Hope you're doing good. But yeah, that's what's tough about the schedule. In May, lots of games, but we'll have to see how the look. The Galaxy have big aspirations to want to win trophies. We've heard Chicharito, they're gonna have to weather this storm if because they have these obstacles, these goals that they want to achieve. So I just want to see how they're able to bounce back from this, and it starts
Yeah.
on Wednesday. I want to ask your thoughts about we saw Dejan Joveljic. He got subbed in right away in the 45th minute. I think it was for Efra.
Yeah,
First time
that's another
I think
problem.
that's the most minutes he played. Greg Vanny right away puts in Dejan. What were your thoughts on that?
I was a little surprised he made the move so early, but then again, you look at the first half, and effort really didn't impact the game at all in the first half. So second half, you're chasing. You're getting 2 guys up front, and you're just looking for things. He had a couple shots that he scuffed a little bit. The keeper had a couple good saves, but 45. That's probably been his longest run since forever. Excluding the Open Cup, of
The
course.
Open Cup, yep.
But maybe since last year against when he had those starts against LAFC, I believe.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry. What are your thoughts about him starting alongside Chicharito? Because I know there's so many. I know Greg Vanny hasn't done it. It doesn't seem like that's something he wants to do. But what as of right now, I should say. But what are your thoughts on that?
as of right now, if you don't start him, you're going to sit Cabral. I mean, everybody's probably happy with that, right? But Cabral does some of those little things. I talked to Greg last week about it. Cabral's he's checking back. He's coming up with tackles. And Dejan doesn't really do that. He doesn't really do that in his game. So, it's tough. I mean, at some point, you hope that it opens up, things start clicking for Cabral because he had a couple. He should have had an assist against Austin. He could have had one against Dallas, but Chicha's header was almost fumbled over the line. It was close there, but he's only going like 60 minutes as well. So it's like they're in a tough spot here. Maybe you should just go ahead and throw Dejan out there for 60, 65, and 75 and see what happens at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the Dejan Joveljic bandwagon. I say you start him. I just like the way he plays and his whole demeanor. I feel like Kevin Cabral he's been given more than enough to prove himself, and unfortunately he hasn't. 10, 12 games? I don't know how many games we've played this season. He's just not it for right now, and I think there's just a hungry player like in Dejan. You may have to adjust maybe the formation or whatever, but I think Dejan can do a lot of things, and I think I would say he could track back and stuff. Obviously if you play him up top, but things have to change and maybe in the midfield and all that. But I just like a player that is hungry and is committed to win. The main thing I think the biggest criticism outside of Cabral sometimes is his body language. For me, it's just sometimes he looks out there that he's not as interested in the game, or he doesn't have that passion that Chicharito. No one's gonna have the type of passion Chicharito has, because Chicharito is special in his own way like that. But Dejan has that. When he's like he went on. He's like, I proved to have more minutes. How he jumped up on the stands and showed that emotion. I'm not saying Cabral has to do that, but like on the field, you can kind of tell. For whatever reason, Dejan has. Kevin Cabral hasn't showed that, and I think he's been given more than enough. And I think even though he's a DP, it's okay to sit DP players. To me, it's okay if they're not producing at a high level. And I just think I would like to see that pairing. Start him, give him 90 minutes, and I think it will work. I think it will work. I don't think it's as complex. This is me, speaking behind a microphone. I don't think it's complex, to do it. Because like a player like Dejan will do anything to play 90 minutes.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and I just don't think he, if he understands what Chicharito, if he could play 45 minutes, he could play 90 minutes alongside.
Mhm.
That's just my thought process. But you brought up a great point. I want to ask you, because that Chicharito goal or header or whatever it was, I don't know. I feel like I wish we had like goal line technology in the MLS. We don't have that yet.
Yeah.
Or
That's the same
at
thing.
least a camera that they have in the post and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let's watch it. We got it right here. Go ahead and play this. What are your thoughts, Damian?
At first, I thought it was in because it sort of goes behind the post here quickly. It went behind the post quickly, but you can't tell if the whole ball is fully over the line. I guess.
Yeah, and I'm
One
gonna, I'm
thing
gonna try to stop
right
it.
right there.
Like,
That's when I thought. That's when I thought it's over the line.
that's as close as I look. That's as close as I can zoom in. And I don't. It's tough to see from this angle if that ball. I could say, yeah, it crossed or no, but if we don't have the camera or anything like that, it's tough to say. And it's unfortunate, for the Galaxy fans, because I think at that point the game was 1-0. I think it
Yeah,
was
it was
1-0.
it was 1-0. This happened.
And then they
They
score.
ruled no goal, and then they scored like maybe 2 minutes
Right.
later. So it was like that really swung the whole game there. But one thing Greg said that he's been saying it for he said he's been saying it for so many years that MLS needs goal line technology,
Yeah.
and this is a prime example here.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it sort of looks like it's behind it's at least behind the post,
Yeah.
but you know,
Yeah.
it's the whole ball over the line. That's the whole thing there. But
Yeah, and Tony's comments, he said didn't go all the way. And that's the thing, right? It's like you don't have a confirmed thing. If we saw the video, it'd be like, all right, yeah, you're right. The
yeah,
whole ball didn't cross the line. We can live with that. But unfortunately, when this happened in real time, I didn't see it. I just saw the player's reaction. So I just went off the player's reaction. I was like, Chicha, obviously, if you're a forward, you always think you score, right? Chicharito's like, he's
exactly.
yelling at the ref. To me, it's like, why didn't I know they look? I think I talked to Joe Tutino about it. He was up in the press call and he was just like, yeah, he said they went to VAR, but and they said it was no goal. But I usually like when the ref on the
Yeah.
field goes and looks at it and be like, all right, they looked at it. But that was my biggest complaint. Is like, why didn't they do the whole thing when it's a close goal? It's not that clear of a goal, what I'm saying, to see like in real time.
Mhm.
And obviously it gets tricky, but yeah, we definitely need goal line technology because we want a clear, definite answer. And I think as fans, as media, we deserve that. I think that the league's at a point that we just got to be balanced all across all these other leagues, and I don't think it's that difficult to do that, right? I don't know if the MLS wants to compete in all these different things, you should have this technology. We're in the US. I don't know. Am I asking for too much, Damian?
Not my money. But you would think, man,
Right?
you would want the perfect angles when you're looking at offsides, looking at plays like this. You want the perfect angle so you can get the clear picture.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, look, that's unfortunate. I look, the Galaxy posted that video right away. Right, I think it was right on Twitter. Right away, right after that happened. Unfortunately, it didn't go through, and the Galaxy ended up getting scored on. And it seems that usually happens when a call doesn't go your way. The
yeah,
next call goes forward your opponents for whatever reason, which is
exactly.
which is tough.
Yeah,
Let me ask you about Douglas Costa, because Douglas Costa, he
scored a
scored
goal.
scored a goal, scored a second goal off a set piece. What were your thoughts on Douglas Costa?
He looked like he was I mean, lively. Finally, he went 90, I believe. I don't think anybody came off for him. But I don't know how that sets him up for Wednesday. I mean, that's a quick turnaround for a guy who's battled a lot of injuries.
Yep.
I mean, can he go another 90 on Wednesday, or do you have to watch him, hold him out Wednesday for Sunday, or do you play him, 45, 60 on Wednesday and you get him for 30 on Sunday? But yeah, that was a good hit there. They need their DPs to perform. You can't win without your DPs performing.
Yeah.
That's his second goal. Chicha has 5, and we all know the saga of Kevin Cabral right now. If they're not scoring, they're not going to win. You can't win these games 1-0 every week. So they just got to put you got to find some kind of consistency in the attack. That's one thing Greg's been harping on for weeks here. How he's one line that opened my eyes up. He said we're in dangerous spots, but we're not really in dangerous spots.
Yeah.
And that was like, well, they're not really doing what he wants to do. But and then with all the games, that sort of takes away from your training time. So I think they're in a tough spot this month, really.
Yeah, they're learning as they're going in this season. One thing I think about the guy, I love the goal. I love the set piece. Douglas Costa is a major threat when it comes to set pieces. I think he's proven that, even though it's 2 goals off set pieces. To me, I think the biggest thing, I think they're just missing the creativity in the up top attack. It's like, they're missing they're missing that creative player. I know Efrain, he's playing up top. They're missing Victor Vasquez hasn't been playing, but I just feel like they're missing a number 10. I don't know if they bring someone in the summer or what that looks like. In the midfield, someone to Chicharito hasn't been scoring and all these things, but I think I would also say the service hasn't been there as consistently where he can do something with it. Yeah, the Cabral thing was there, the assist I hit off the pole, but you need more of that consistency, and I think sometimes the offense just gets way too stagnant for the Galaxy for them to kind of create off of that.
Yeah, that's what Greg said. That even Sasha said their timing's a little off when they get into that final. Some guys are making runs. Some guys are, like to play 1-2, but they're not expecting it. So, I mean, Vasquez is the creative magician, really. But he's 35 years old. He's dealing injuries. Yeah. He's not a 90-minute player. He's a 65, 75-minute player. So, I mean, he was on the game day rosters against Dallas. So you can expect probably see him either Wednesday or Sunday. But I mean, I don't see him going full 90 2 days and back-to-back games on a short week. So they're going to need someone. If it's a summer pickup, they had to need somebody in that midfield to sort of open things up here.
Yeah, to me, I think they've needed that even before coming into the season. I think Greg Vanny had hinted that potentially Douglas Costa would play that, but he's playing more out on the wing. And and I'm with you. I don't know, Victor Vasquez is not a 90-minute player. He can do those things, but he's battling those injuries. Unfortunately, I'm with you. They need a 90-minute player that can do those and create those things for them, because when things aren't going the way, when it's a tight game, you need someone in that midfield and that attacking midfield to open up the game. You have Mark Delgado, who's obviously there defensively, but for whatever reason, I thought Efra could be that guy. It's not looking like he's going to be the guy for that. He's playing up forward with Chicharito, so it's just a lot of players are playing in different positions, and then what you mentioned earlier, the DPs. Douglas Costa, he did have that goal, but he's also been inconsistent sometimes with some injuries. Kevin Cabral, I just don't know. They haven't. All 3 of the DPs haven't clicked just yet. And you make a case for Douglas Costa, not clicking, but Kevin Cabral at this point, I think he should understand somewhat Chicharito's runs, where he likes the ball. But they just haven't clicked on that aspect for them. So how do you see this moving forward? They got Minnesota tomorrow, Houston, and then El Tráfico. 3 games. Out of those 3 games, how many of those games Galaxy win, lose, draw?
Man, first of all, you got to think one of these games is going to be a heavy. One of those games, not the LAFC game, will be a heavy rotated game, just to have guys ready for the LAFC game.
Yeah, I think Houston may be that game.
I think Wednesday might be that game.
Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that it's just a short turnaround, and some of these guys. I mean, you get Chicha's 33, Costa's 32, Derek Williams 28. Not that bad. Delgado's 27, 28. Sasha. You got to keep trying to keep guys fresh, because really, it's only May. That's the one thing about this season, this league. It's still only May, so there's a lot of time left. But they've always seemed a way to bounce back when you think they won't. I think they will bounce back against Minnesota. And then if they can get some in Houston, then you're going into LAFC, with some confidence. Well, they're probably already confident because they always beat them at home. But yeah, I think they will bounce back against Minnesota because they're both similar. I mean, they're not scoring either. They've only scored 12 goals in 12 games, just like the Galaxy. So maybe the game either ends scoreless or probably ends 1-0, like every other Galaxy game seems to do.
Yeah, I mean, with this stretch of games, I think if you get a positive result, even if you come out with the tie, I think you could leave happy just with the short turnaround. Obviously, you want the win. That's definitely, obviously, that's what you play for. But yeah, I think these next 3 games are very important, right? Obviously, that U.S. Open Cup, this is like one LA team is not moving forward. One LA team is not having a chance at winning the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday, and the benefit is the Galaxy have always won at home. They have not lost as of yet. I don't know if this is a game. El Tráficos are always crazy to predict, So I'm not going to give my predictions on that because it could go either way. But yeah, you're right. There is going to be a rotation game. The reason I say Sunday or against Houston is because they got that big game on Wednesday. I think you could live if you don't win the game on the game on Sunday against Houston. Maybe Chicharito doesn't play all those minutes because you really want to win that game against LAFC on the 25th on the following Wednesday. Which we all know that's the first Old Trafford that's going to happen on a weekday, and I'm expecting a sellout. I'm still expecting a sellout because of what type of game it is. I'm happy that we get another one.
Wasn't the playoff game during the week?
Playoff game
back in, what was it, 19? I think it was during the week. I think
was it? I can't go that far back, Damian.
Maybe Wednesday or. I was just looking at some the other day. I know they played Minnesota in the playoff game on a weekend, I believe. And I think they had a short turnaround.
When they played at LAFC with Zlatan?
Conference semifinal, I believe.
I don't recall. I don't recall the day. That's way back. Yeah. It's way back. My memory is not that good. But yeah, it might have been. You could be right. I always, for whatever reason, they always felt like weekends. Or it might have been a Friday. I don't know. Or a Thursday.
Yeah, they always seem like week Saturdays or Sundays or whatever.
Saturdays or Sundays.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, even Sasha said it. I mean, that's the biggest game of the month, really.
Yeah,
is that game.
Yeah.
But before that, you have these little Western Conference games you got to take care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these games I expect to be a heavy rotation game. But that doesn't mean that Chicharito doesn't play. Maybe he comes on for 20 minutes, whatever. Maybe
yeah.
Maybe,
give him some 20 minutes off the bench.
20-25 minutes. But yeah, because if they fly back Thursday, they get Friday and Saturday training sessions, but you're not going to go too heavy.
Yeah,
come off the game and with the game on Sunday. So yeah, it's a good thing I'm not the coach because I would give everybody. It's a
good thing I just got a podcast and we just talk about it. I bring you on, we just discuss. No, you're right. Hey, that's why Greg Vanny and the coaching staff gets paid the big bucks. But look, yeah, I feel you. Tony has a great question. He says, "Is it a confidence problem with the younger players for them to score?" Damian, what are your thoughts?
I think I asked Greg about Cabral's confidence the other day. And he said that his confidence is good. I mean, he said he's in the room, the guys like him. He's always, if they're joking around, he's joking around, he's laughing, he's playing or whatever. But I think at some point deep inside, you would think that, he's wearing that brunt of not scoring.
Yeah.
I think if he gets that assist against Austin, maybe that's a weight lifted off his shoulders there. I mean, It's not a goal, but you're leading. You're
on the stat sheet somehow.
Yeah, you're on the stat sheet. Perfect pass, goal there. And then if he got one against Dallas, then things are really. Then his confidence is really soaring now. But now it's like, it's tough because we haven't really talked to him because English is not his best language, but I heard his English is pretty good this year. So I don't know.
That's the point. You're right. Playoff was on a weekday. So yeah, you were right. He says he got booed when the starters were introduced. I think
Yeah, he
he's
did.
referring. I think he's
Everybody
referring to.
got booed. They got booed at halftime. They got
They
booed
got
after
booed
the
after the
game.
game. I know that.
Yeah,
It's
hey, if you don't perform, hey, man, the fans got a right to boo you.
yeah. I
That's
don't have a problem with fans booing.
nah.
Now throwing things is different, but booing, I'm okay with booing. Especially
Yeah,
when you put a performance, when you put on
yeah. If they spend their money to get in, pay all the food, parking, you don't perform, they got the right to boo you
yeah,
until
yeah.
until you do right, really. So
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. I think just other stuff is just not okay.
yeah.
But yeah, let's finish off with this. How excited are you for another El Trafico U.S. Open Cup? The Galaxy hosting at home against against LAFC. It's gonna be a big matchup. You know, how far is the Galaxy going at home against LAFC in the U.S. Open Cup?
Well, if they win this game, I think they're gonna they get the next round at home as well. So I think they have a good shot to get to the finals if they can win this one. The winner of this game, I think, will move on. Will get to the finals because you get the game at home, the next round at home. How excited am I for it? It's no Trafico. I don't know how, because back in the day they used to have a limit on capacity for midweek games. I don't know if
Mm.
that's still. I don't know if that's
I
still.
hope they don't do that because it's
Yeah,
too big of a game. They
yeah,
want
yeah,
it's too big of a game for that.
yeah, yeah. It's too big, but back in the day they used to have a limit on capacity. But LAFC is going through the same thing. Their schedule is, they're
Yeah,
playing. They played Saturday. They played
they didn't
what?
play. Yeah, they also
Saturday?
had a rough game. Yeah.
Yeah, they lost. They played Wednesday. They played this Saturday. So they're pretty much either a day behind or a day ahead, leading into that 25th. So there's gonna be some tired legs. Might see the game go to PKs, which means
Yeah,
oh, that's the perfect script, right?
yeah. Hey, that would add to the drama if it goes to PKs. I personally don't like PKs, but look, if we get extra soccer, if it goes down that way, I'll take it. I
I got
just
like
like to
like
have a
like I said, you got to end the game sometime. You
yeah,
can't run around forever. So
yeah.
yeah,
No, that definitely makes sense. Well, Damian, I appreciate you being on. That's definitely all the time we have with the LA Galaxy. So, yeah, man, definitely check out Damian. I think you had an article with Greg Vanny, right? Like about a couple weeks ago.
uh, last week we I sort of pulled him out of a meeting. We talked about Cabral for about 10-15 minutes. That ran last week. This week, Wednesday's preview is basically on the offense, the attacking, what he's looking for, what he wants to see out of this week, and then Sunday I don't know what I'm writing about, but I'll think of something.
Yeah. Well, guys, definitely check it out. Obviously, Damian Calhoun, he's been covering the team for a long time. Damian, thank you for being on. Guys, give me a break. Give me a second. It's going on a couple minutes break. And we are back talking LAFC. We got JP with us. JP, how you doing, my brother? Well, I think you muted. I think you mute yourself. You're muted. Unmute your mic.
My bad, my bad.
There you go.
I got finals week. I'm just trying to survive it and start my summer next week, and then plan out some things in the summer. But
Hey,
so
there we go. It's graduation. Are you graduating?
nah, not yet, not yet.
He said not
It's on
yet.
pause. It's on pause
It's
for
on
now. But
pause.
we're getting there. We're getting
Hey, big plans for the summer. What you got planned for this summer?
there. Trying to learn how to edit a bit. Trying to write some more. Trying to get stronger physically, I guess, and
Yeah,
just
hit the
have
weight
fun.
room for
Just
the
have fun.
ladies. There you go, JP.
Yeah, big summer,
Hey,
big summer.
coming to a LA Fitness near you, JPA. We're gonna have to measure the gains, man. How are we measuring the gains? Where you at right now? We're gonna have to do a full body weight count stuff. So we'll let the people we'll do that, and then we'll keep the people informed. All right? Is that good?
Definitely. 2 months from now, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. That's good. But yeah, man. Obviously, LAFC had a rough game. I would say controversial PKs. Some would say. But what were your thoughts on this game against Colorado?
It was a terrible game. I mean, from start to finish, the team didn't look that strong. They didn't look, into the game. They weren't ready for it. But it's fine to have some of these games early on in the season. Their wake up calls. Steve was very adamant and aware of how the team, just performed so greatly. But you need to address these early on in the season because you want to end the season off strong. It doesn't really matter how you start. And this team is still overperforming from early season expectations. So they're still overperforming. One loss is not really reason for alarm, but definitely not the way you want to lose a game.
Yeah, definitely not. And it was. You're right. Colorado was just kind of give it to them. Obviously, some unlucky play that happened there with some of the PKs and stuff, but for whatever reason, LAFC wasn't able to get the ball rolling. They had some subs in the second half. Didn't really change things. I would also say LAFC got lucky that they only lost 2-0. Could have been 3-4-0 if we're talking. If we're being honest. Colorado just missed some wide open chances there. But, the score could have been a lot more different. But even though they lost, by no means, I don't think this LAFC team has too much to worry. Essentially, look, it's one bad game. You expect them to bounce back not tomorrow, Wednesday against Austin FC. It's not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a busy schedule for LAFC. Lots of things, lots of games coming up. But yeah, I expect them to bounce back. I don't think just because they had one bad game, they're not going to be able to bounce back. But the one thing I was very shocked to see McCarthy start over Max Crepeau.
Maxime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maxime Crepeau. I was very surprised about that. What were your thoughts on that?
I think it was expected since they gave Crepeau the start against Portland. I think we all expected McCarthy to play the U.S. Open Cup, but that didn't happen because given the rivalry LAFC has with Portland, Steve didn't want to give them any advantages or play any quote unquote secondary players. So he started to max that game. So he gave McCarthy this game, which was fine. I mean, McCarthy stepped up to the plate. McCarthy was a starter last season for Inter Miami, so it's not like he's been a backup. He's not a foreigner to this league. He knows what to do, how to play in this league, what to expect against certain teams, and he did what he had to do. Obviously, he only gets scored on with 2 penalties and keeps his team in the game for the rest of it because, like you said, Colorado had some easy chances in the second half and in the first half that really could have boosted that score up, but McCarthy kept us in the game.
Yeah, no, he did. I felt like he played solid. He really had a good game. What can you do in these PKs? To me, Max is still the number one keeper, even though McCarthy played a good game. Maxime Crepeau is still the number one keeper. There's no question about that to me. When someone has a good game like this, let's look at the PKs because I know a lot of people were upset about this. I'm gonna play this and let's get your thoughts on this play.
By Acosta. Chipping it in, and that's headed away.
I think that's Ibiaga.
Sorted out. Penalty. Rubio.
He fouls Rubio. I think he touches him on the head.
A difficult thing. The ball up in the air. Oh yeah.
What do you think, JP? Right call? Is this the right call?
Foot.
I don't think it's the right call because I think at this angle,
Let's see.
Ibiaga touches the ball and Rubio's heading down. So it's not Ibiaga's foot going to Rubio. It's Rubio's head going to his foot. So Rubio's heading the ball down instead of Ibiaga kicking his head, if that. So I think, and Ibiaga's not even looking at Rubio. He's looking at the ball. So is it a bit reckless? Yes, but he ultimately ends up touching the ball, so I don't think it's a penalty. But they don't even go to VAR. So I think that's where the frustration comes in when there are two dubious calls. At least go to VAR and confirm your original call. But if you don't go to VAR and then you go to VAR for over the line step from McCarthy, then that's, I think, a bit more infuriating. Because I don't think it's the right use of VAR. Because this isn't a clear penalty. I think you should go to VAR, look at it in every angle, real time, slow-mo, and then decide. But that hasn't happened for LAFC this season. And when it has happened, it hasn't gone our way. So VAR has
You
been tricky
hinting
with
that the refs are
LAFC.
against LAFC?
I mean, it's not a coincidence that the two games you lose, the refs are involved. I mean, I wouldn't say when the refs are involved in the two games that you lose, it's kind of suspicious, you know?
You look, what I will say, when calls don't go your way, it definitely feels like the refs are against you.
So
It looks like
Gaga.
it's not like HD or 4K, so I don't know. To me, it kind of looks like he touches him, but I don't know. I don't know if there was a clear thing. I could see this one potentially, like, I don't know. I can get it, but I think the one that gets the second one is this. Let me see if this is the second PK.
Yeah, that one. Or, yeah, a little bit after.
Got called
Into the middle, Lewis, heavy touch all the way out.
So this play right here.
Into the middle, Lewis, heavy touch. It's knocked away.
I don't know. Pancho Janela kind of just shoving them there, like
He doesn't extend his arm, but what Marcelo Balboa was saying is that he texted his reference during the game, and his reference said that he didn't play the ball, he played the player. So
10 minutes of each other not
here.
even.
Oof.
Lewis, and that's that knock from the side by Janela that appears to be.
That he hits him right there, like
it's body, but he doesn't. he goes for the player, not the ball.
Yeah,
so that's why it gets called.
Yeah, that to me is just like that's like Jesus. But what is crazy is this what you're talking about?
The whistle a moment ago did guess right. He went left, got a fingertip on it, but it still went in. Rubio stutter steps. That one's ushered away by McCarthy.
We might be going back.
I don't know how this happened. How they just went to the VAR on this one. They're like, oh yeah, because it looked clean, but obviously when you slow things out. But you're right. If they go to VAR on this one and they don't go to VAR on the other one.
Yes, sir. We're gonna take it again.
Oh, okay, kind of. Yeah, he's all right.
And that was quick and decisive by Uncle, and that's.
But
yeah, look, it's tough. It's definitely tough when this happens, and you know, it gets very tricky. You know, but let's say regardless of this, I think still LAFC did not play as what they're accustomed to, because even being down 2-0 that early, they still could have came back if they were to play a little bit better, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Jafet says he's like, I'm an LAFC fan. I think both were penalties. We can't be complaining every time we don't get a call. Fair enough, but I think it is some things you know, you can question. You don't agree with the ref, but he says I do agree they need to go to VAR more. Yeah, I'm with that. Like if you're gonna call a penalty, something like that, unless the ref felt like he on that first penalty that he saw it right away, it was clear for him that he didn't need to go to VAR or whatever. I think that's like, to me, it's like I'm confused. Why are you only going to VAR sometimes? Why are you only reviewing the VAR from up top and not down low? Like, you know, it should just be consistent all the way throughout. You know, if you're gonna have the ref look at it, then if you're gonna have VAR look at it, then have the ref go out there, because I think it eases people when the ref goes out there and goes to the video camera review booth and actually looks at it. But when they don't, it's like, are you know, it comes across like, are you really reffing? Or you know, you don't want to leave that doubt in people's mind. And I think that's the frustrating thing when the refs don't do that. They don't do that action, you know, because I like it. Now that I'm accustomed, I want you to go look at VAR in the action and tell me that it's the right call. I'm like, okay, I'll live with that. But when you don't do that, I think that's when there's a lot of frustration that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's called video assistant referee, and if it doesn't assist you, in you know, clearing up the the dubious calls, then it's not really doing its job. You know, the VAR's job was to eliminate human mistakes, and it just keeps on happening. So is it truly helping football? I don't think so. You know,
Yeah, it just needs to be clear all the way throughout. It just needs. I think it just needs a little bit more cleaning up to do. But yeah, but bigger news today, or it's been around. I'm gonna butcher his last name, Cellini. I don't know if that's how you say it. You pronounce it right. Correct me if I'm wrong, JP. But yeah, he's expected to take LAFC's offer. You know, a notorious name in Juventus. You know, he's had a historic career in Juventus. Now he's potentially joining LAFC. What are your thoughts on LAFC potentially bringing him on?
Sign him right now. Bring him on. Give him 2 weeks after the European season's over. Give him 2 weeks and have him come in. The amount of experience he has, being Italian, the emphasis that Italian football puts on defense and the center back position is just going to be immense. To help Fall, to help Palacios, to help anybody in the academy, and anybody just in general on this team, position wise, the way he sees the game, the way he plays it in Europe, he saw it in Europe, is going to be great. Just from a coaching and mentor perspective. And then on the field, he just came up, from playing the Coppa Italia final. He won the Euros last year. He's not an injury-prone center back. You know, he's up there in age like Zlatan, but Zlatan has a hamstring or a quad injury every month or every so often. He's hard. He's durable. He does not really get injured. Can that change when he gets here? Obviously, that's, one of the dangers with age. But you're not risking a DP contract on him. You're not really giving him 2-3 years. You're giving him 18 months. Finish the season off, and next season, if the hopes of getting into CCL, and he's going to be a great addition to that. It's simple. Do you want Ibiaga to be your backup, or do you possibly want Segura Murillo to be your backup because Chiellini's starting? I think it's a simple no-brainer. If you were injury prone, then obviously I'd say no. Because he is old and you don't really want to waste 1.7 million on an injury prone player, but he's not, and he has all that experience that could really help Fall grow. So I say sign him.
Yeah, I like this signing. I'm not one of like typically bringing older, because he was on the Italian national team, right? He was playing.
He won the Euros.
He was a starter. A center back. So to me, I like it. And you get him on a TAM deal. I think it's for 1.65 is I think the max that LAFC can pay him. I really like the signing. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think if he's starting along Mamadou Fall or Segura, whoever it is, I think just having the experience of bringing that tough nose defender or the defensive center back there is going to go a long way, especially when it comes in the playoffs. I think he could be potentially the missing piece. Not saying that LAFC are missing a missing piece, but when it comes to the playoff times, you need a hard-nosed defensive player that's going to lock things down. And he's done it at the highest level. He's done it at Serie A. He's done it for the Italian club. Now I know the Italian club's not going, or Italy's not going to the World Cup, but look, he has to me, him being 37 and what I've seen from him, I don't feel like he's your average 37-year-old football player. He's definitely in shape. He definitely could bring a lot of things to LAFC, and I think he could definitely improve a club that's already really solid. So I'm a big fan of this signing. I don't think this is a bad signing at all. If it was a DP contract, a designated player, like a franchise player, you're paying that, I think it would be a different. But if you're playing on TAM, and it's only 18 months, I don't think it's a bad signing. I'm really looking forward to this. Hopefully this does get done. Expected to happen within the next couple of weeks. I think Fabricio, everybody knows the reporter Fabricio, he had talked about this, that he's really considering LAFC. I think the other teams were Inter Miami and Vancouver, but he's definitely leaning towards LAFC. So if they get this done, I expect LAFC defensively to take it to another level and be able to lock teams down. Now, and you're right. If he comes, he takes 2 weeks off or whatever from the Italian and comes join over here, I think there is going to be some adjusting to getting to obviously his teammates, the lifestyle here, and everything like that. But I think a player of his caliber can adjust to those things quicker. Obviously, I don't know his background too much. I don't know how well I'm assuming he knows English or he understands. He's going to be able to understand English. So I don't think that learning curve. And I think it's also players that are that veteran, it's easier for them to transition to a different league than say he was 21 or 20,
Yeah.
and the team does not depend on him to be the starter right away. I think that's the benefit. He could come in and come off the bench, in the first couple games or whatever. I don't think you need to be the starter right away. And I think that's why this deal makes so much sense.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a leader. And if you want to be a championship team, you have to have a lot of leaders with experience that can, help ease tension in the locker room. And he's also defense with championships. That's what I was trying to say. Defense with championships. And if you have a star caliber center back, he's up in age, but he's still world class, or he was world class in his time. Now, obviously, age doesn't make you world class, but he's still great, and he's really going to solidify that defense to make it a championship contender in the Supporter Shield race, and MLS Cup, and the Open Cup, whatever. I don't think he can play Open Cup, maybe not, because they have different rules. But regardless, Supporter Shield and MLS Cup, he's going to be great, and he's definitely going to help everybody.
Yeah, no, like I said, I like it. Hopefully this deal gets done, because there's so much to me to like. I haven't seen him. I think today was his last game. I don't know if he played in the Juventus game. I don't know if you watched it. I don't know if he played. Okay.
And then
I'm assuming it was a farewell goodbye. So, obviously him and Dybala were saying goodbye. So I don't think he's injury prone. He looked really solid to me. This, like I said, he's not your average 37-year-old where the team depends on him. It's absolutely the other way around. He's going to come in and help out LAFC. So I think it's a really good move. Hopefully this gets done. So let's talk moving forward. So on Wednesday they play Austin, who's obviously at the top of the table, right below LAFC. I think they're second or they're third now. I think
they're third. Dallas went up.
Dallas went second. Yeah, so they're third. That's gonna be a tough game. And then I think was it Saturday? They play Saturday against Columbus in Columbus, and then they come back here Wednesday, El Tráfico. 3 big games.
Oh yeah.
3 big games, obviously at home. You want to beat Austin at home. Saturday, maybe that's where there's a rotation game. Maybe Carlos Vela, Chicho, and all those guys don't start because you got that big game on Wednesday. Let's start with Wednesday's game. What are your thoughts on Austin FC on Wednesday?
Austin has been here since Sunday, I think. Austin arrived yesterday, so they're going to be acclimated. The weather's not going to be a problem for them. Not like LA weather's ever a problem for any team, but they're ready. They've been here. They're going to be well rested. They know it's a direct rival for the Supporter Shield, or for just top positions in playoffs, whatever their ambitions are. But LAFC slip up and they stay first. Every other team kind of drops points. Dallas won, but now they're only a point behind LAFC. So LAFC kind of have to get back into it. Steve said that they're going to have a better response this Wednesday because what they presented on Saturday just wasn't good enough for themselves and for the fan base. So there's some clear self-reflection on LAFC's part. So I think they're going to come out guns blazing on Wednesday. I think Columbus is going to be maybe a throwaway game or definitely a heavily rotated squad, because you're trying to have everybody as healthy as possible for El Tráfico. That's really what matters. You're trying to see if you could get Ismael and Birot back, because they've been missing. We did not have any options up top against Colorado. Moose is a workhorse. Moose is great, but he's not a winger. Regardless of if you want to put him there, if you have to put him there, he's going to work and he's going to give his all. But you're not really going to get the best out of him down on the wing. He's not that explosive guy. He's the guy that's going to be poaching in the goal and retain the ball for link-up play. So we're kind of thin up top. Opoku, if he doesn't show up, Ravella has been kind of quiet last 2 games. They need to show up and take the load. If not, we're kind of stretched thin up top, and hopefully Birot or Ismael can get back by the time El Tráfico happens, because you have to go to Columbus, and that's not an easy flight. We saw it against Cincinnati. They go down early, and they had to kind of climb back into that one, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's gonna be tough. You're definitely gonna want to win this game on Wednesday. Saturday, I think that's when the rotation happens because the biggest game of the month is against LA Galaxy at Dignity Health Sports Park down in Carson. So as of yet, like LAFC, both teams have aspirations to want to win trophies. We know LAFC has talked about it. I know Galaxy's talked about it. One team is not winning the U.S. Open Cup, and we're gonna find out on Wednesday. We're gonna find out on Wednesday. One team's not gonna win the U.S. Open Cup trophy, and that happens right away. And what better way to knock out your arch rival? Your biggest enemy is on Wednesday. And this is, I think the biggest thing that got LAFC have is they haven't won down there, right? That's the biggest elephant in the room.
Yep.
They have a time to change that. They have a big, and this game is more important than the last one because you win, you move on, you lose, you stay home, right? And and that's the thing because in these games you can never predict. But we know as of right now, so far LAFC have struggled with the Galaxy at Dignity. So I want to see if that changes this upcoming week because I'm expecting this is going to be the most filled or most packed U.S. Open Cup game in LA because I think for both teams, neither game has been a quote unquote sellout or whatever. But yeah, I'm excited for El Tráfico on Wednesday. I'm excited for a lot of emotion because one of these two teams is gonna move on, the other one's not. And the bragging rights, and this is just for the U.S. Open Cup for bragging rights and all the different things. How are you feeling about that game? Because you did mention some players that they're missing, but even though they're missing some players, LAFC so far outside of the Colorado game, they've been pretty steady. They're still number one in the MLS.
Yeah, I mean their only loss is against the Galaxy at Dignity Health Sports Park, and week 2 or 3, or early, and then this one last week. So they've been fine. They've been great. They've been overperforming expectations for Steve's first year. I still think they're doing fine. Obviously, bad games happen, and we're gonna have to see on Wednesday if they can react. But they should really start preparing for the Galaxy. They really need to start thinking about that. Obviously, don't undermine Austin and the crew, but they really need to get that first win in Dignity Health Sports Park. And what a way to do it if they get to eliminate Galaxy in their home in the U.S. Open Cup. That's what Greg Vanney said, I think, at the beginning of the season. How is this rivalry going to grow? And games like this is what's going to make this rivalry grow. It's going to make it more memorable. LAFC have the edge on the Galaxy in elimination games, with that 5-3, sending Zlatan back to Europe, ending his Galaxy career. But, it's another game like that. It's going to feel edgy. It's going to be passionate. It's going to be, a high intensity game. And is LAFC going to have, their full arsenal if they will need to make subs up top, if they need to be and change their approach to the game. It's not an excuse, but if you don't have B-Rod, your only other DP, and it's only Carlos Vela, Chicho Nopoku, and Moose and Jennings are your subs, then you're kind of thin up top, and you really have to maximize your opportunities.
But I would say even then, though, that's still a nice 3, though. Vela,
that's a nice 3.
Chicho, Opoku. Yeah. To me, that's still enough to beat Galaxy at Galaxy, though. That's I think even though they may miss Brian and Ishmael, I still think that's still you're talking a lot of firepower there. I'm not worried about I'm not worried for me at LAFC. I'm not worried for what's up top because that I don't expect them to necessarily play poorly like they played against Colorado. To me, more of the worries potentially defensively or in the midfield, because that's where I think the El Tráfico game will come down to, or the counterattacks or whatever, because we know these games are crazy. Even though the Galaxy lost as well, the LAFC didn't do good. That game is you throw everything out the window.
Yeah.
Anything's gonna happen, stats or whatever that they don't exist leading for that game for whatever reason. But I like I said, even up there, like I just think they still have firepower. And even say you just have Cal Jennings and Masovsky, we've seen Masovsky score some goals this year, last year, and I think Masovsky. Yeah, you want Brian Rodriguez, yeah, you want Ishmael, but even if those are your top 3, I think they can still do a lot of damage with those top 3.
Yeah, and you also, I guess, have to factor in Ryan Hollingshead, who went down against the Rapids. They haven't given us word on that, but they might give us on Tuesday presser because they always have the presser before a game. So we'll see what the update is on him. But yeah, I mean, Maria's still out, Daniel's still out. So, you really have to try to make the best rotations possible and get everybody healthy because it's Austin, it's it's a flight to Columbus and then a flight back, and it's El Tráfico. Which, like you said, it doesn't really matter how you've been playing, who's playing. Those are separate games, but obviously you want to maximize your opportunities to win. I'm not nervous or anything, but we obviously want to see the Stars play that game.
Yeah. You definitely want to have all those stars, especially for the U.S. Open Cup. But yeah, I think that Wednesday game is gonna be fun. Austin has been pretty solid. This year they're number 3 right now, and I think LAFC have a chance to just beat them at home. LAFC, I don't think they haven't lost at home. They've either won or tied. So if they continue that trend, so you can expect a positive result. But if you're LAFC, you definitely want to beat Austin because they're chasing your tail right there. But yeah, I think it's such a congested schedule. But look, if LAFC want to win a trophy, this is what they got to overcome. This congested schedule, these dealing with injuries, dealing with rotations, and we're just gonna see. It's early, but we're gonna see. I think LAFC is a really good team. I think they deserve the number 1 spot. They're proving it. Now we just got to see how the rotation, because I think when you're a great team, regardless of the injuries, you can still have the next man mentality and step up. I know that's a lot to ask, but this team so far has shown that they have the depth pieces, and then they have Steve Cherundolo, who's done an amazing job so far in his first year to be able to overcome that. And one thing that quickly before we finish up, but the thing that I like about Steve Cherundolo, even though they were losing that game against Colorado Rapids, I think in the second half he subbed in. He had, I think the second time he's done it, he had Opoku, Masevsky, Vela, and Chicho. He had like four forwards up there, and I like that he threw everything at it. And I like that even though they were losing, he was willing to do that. So that just tells me Steve Cherundolo will do anything to win that he can within his players, and sub in a midfielder for a forward and, to try to get that. So I really like that. I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, he believes in his players. He's lively on the sidelines when he thinks calls aren't going their way. And that's what you like to see from your coach. You want somebody to back you up. You want somebody to believe in you. Cal didn't really get that many opportunities last season with Bob, and he was killing it in the lights with Steve. So Steve, knows what these players can do. He's seen all of them. That's, I think, what really helped Steve acclimate into this position easier because he's seen everybody last season.
Yep.
When shadowing Bob or whatever the term is that he was doing, but he was there and he was seeing everybody. And LAFC had 2 opportunities, against the Rapids. Chicho had a shot with his left, and Blessing had a shot that just missed the post. So even playing bad, they still had their opportunities. I'm not worried. But yeah, I mean, you wanna see definitely a different side of LAFC this Wednesday against a direct rival and against a fun team that's Austin this season.
Yeah, no, big games, a lot of excitement. There's going to go into a Wednesday, Saturday, and leading up to El Tráfico. So many things are happening. We're getting the best part of the MLS. How we have all these games. Maybe not for the players, but we're getting. It seems like we're getting a game every other day at this point with all these different games. But yeah, I think we pretty much kind of covered everything. Look, a lot's going to happen a week from now. Like I said, 2 games. But next week we're going to be talking the U.S. Open Cup traffical version of the U.S. Open Cup. So I think that's all the time we have. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. For JP, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.